these legs here. And we're going to copy them. Control C, and while still holding Control, just hit F. And what we're going to do is go to Object, Transform, Reflect. You know, actually, don't even do that. What we'll do is just bring them up a little bit. Then what we're going to do is hit Control, Shift, left bracket to knock them way in the back. And we'll just go to Object, Transform, Scale. And just to easily eye this up is just click right here. And if you don't have the scroll button in your mouse, it's going to take a little bit longer, but just hit the scroll button and be sure you have the preview checked. And we're just going to scroll down till it looks alright. Now what I'm going to do is take the direct select tool and we're going to click right in the green. And we're going to pull up this fill and we'll just make it a tad bit darker because it's in the back. Or maybe you might even change that up, bring it up just a little bit. You can do the same for here if you want as well. Let's see. I'm just messing with the colors really quick here. Alright, now let's get started on the eyeball. So simply click on the eye, go with white, go with black. Alright. So we're going to do here, Control C to copy that. We'll just select it, hold down Shift and select the eye. And we're going to go with minus. Now these are still going to be connected as one piece here. So what we're going to do is right click on it, ungroup, select the top, then Control F to paste the eyebrow back in place. And we'll make that black as well. Now from time to time you'll get this this white line in here. The simplest way is just you normally add a stroke to it if you want. Like say about 0.25, and I'll fill it back in. And for this right here, what we'll do, go with blue. Oh. Let's simply put a shadow on this. We can, let's just select the eyeball, Control C, Control F to paste in front. And when you Control F to paste in front, you are selecting the top piece. So you can simply select the eye and just hold down Shift and bring it down. But I'm going to bring it back up because I don't want it that low. I want it right about there. And what I'm going to do is make a shadow between this. So I'm going to select this, Control C to copy it, hold down Shift, select the eyeball, and intersect. And it didn't work right. So actually what I do have to do is, so you got the two eyes right here. Select the outer one, Control copy, then select these two, select them both together and hit the intersect. Paste that back in front, and it still didn't work right. Hey, even I screw up sometimes. I did have it right the first time, I believe. So select that. Alright, so what we're going to do, we have this top eyeball right here. So what you're going to do is just, if it's not below, or excuse me, if it's not above the actual eye or the pupil, just select Control Shift right bracket. Gonna click on this down here, Control C, hold down Shift and select this eyeball. Then we're going to hit the intersect. Control F to place this base back in place, and Control left bracket to bring it down. And now we're going to select the piece that we made from the intersection of part of the eyeball and make that black. And Control left bracket. We gotta move this down along with it too. So, and then once you click on the black part here, just knock the opacity down to 30%. And what I'm going to do here is simply select the pen tool. I'm going to continue off of this to give it more curvature. So I'm going to select right about there, click about there, bring it down, and give it some curve. Control Y. And we're going to select originally select this right here, Control Copy, the base part. That's what I've selected. Shift and select the shadow that we're going to make, and then intersect. And Control paste that in front to move this back up, and Control left bracket to move it back down. We're going to select the the shadow we're making right now and the old shadow, and unite. Drop the opacity down to 30, and Control left bracket. Control S to save if you haven't been saving along. So now we're going to work on this muffler right here. And as you can see, it's off. So what I'm going to do, for starters, I'm going to put a stroke around this. And go with the darker blue. Make sure it's on the outside. When I do the outline stroke, I try to keep them consistent. Either they're all going to be on the inside or center line, or on the inside, or they're all going to be on the outside. Before I do anything, I'm going to test to see how these strokes actually line up. So I'm going to select here, and I usually give everything 2. And give that a stroke 2 also. Yeah, the only for this purpose, it's not really going to matter because I'm going to put that stroke on top. But I'm going to select both of those, and you have question marks here. If you have the stroke on top, which we're just going to knock it off, and then deselect. So I want to give this some of a shadow as well. So I'm going to click right about there and give it some curve. Select the yellow muffler, Control Copy, Control C. Select the pink and intersect. Control F to paste that in front. Control left bracket, knock it down. Select that pink part, make it black, and knock the opacity down to 30. And being as it went in the wrong spot here, we're just going to Shift X to change that around and take off the stroke. Then select the inside, control right bracket, excuse me, control shift right bracket. And I'm just gonna put a stroke on that, make it a 2. Make sure it's on the outside. And make it a little bit darker. Then I'm gonna select this in here. Give it the same stroke color. Knock out the fill, Shift X. And then maybe I will give it the same stroke color. Make that a 2. And the fill will go a little bit darker. There. And what I'll do is, just for Pete's sake, I'll add some highlights on it. Now if you go down to 30 with the yellow, you really can't see that much of a difference. So I mean, I usually go about 50 or 60 on yellow. What we're going to do is select all this right here, right click and group it, Control C, Control F to paste in the front, and Control Shift left bracket to move it in the back. And we're just going to move that on up. Oops, selected the wrong one. So click off of it, click it so you have the top one, Control 2 to lock it, and the back one we're just going to move that into any place you want specifically. We go to Object, Transform, Scale. The preview. Just hit OK. And I'm going to take the direct select tool, the white one, and click on that yellow. To make it easier, I'm just going to select the stroke. And then switch over to the fill and make it that stroke color, and maybe just a little bit darker. Control S to shape, or Control S to save it. Now for the eye, all I'm going to do really for the excuse me. Let's see, is that the same? It needs to be 2. Alright, so for the eye, I'm gonna put a stroke on it right away, so I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a darker gray. Put it on the outside, make it a 2. And we're gonna make sure that the stuff right here, Control Shift, right bracket, is all on top. Now, to give the eye a better highlight, you're going to want to not make, you're not going to want to make it white. You're going to want to make it like an off white. So, unless you're not wanting to deal with shadows, but I mean, for instance, I had to make it an off white just so you can actually have a highlight mark on it. Then we'll select the white, simple highlight, just hit the ellipse tool, L, and then just place them wherever you want. Then I'm just going to go with the actual offset, or full white, and give it a pupil. Put a stroke on it, I'll knock the stroke off. And to give it a little bit of a highlight in its eyebrow, so remember, hold Alt, that way you don't mess with the lines on the other side. Then click off, click back on it, and knock that down to 30. You could actually possibly do it to the pupil, or the highlights on the pupil too. what we're going to do is this will be with glass. So for right now, I'm going to make that blue. Control Shift left bracket. And why isn't it going all the way back? Oh, it was. The brain was blue too. My bad. So Control Shift left bracket, knock it all the way in the back, and because that was already in the back, Control right bracket once, and I'll pop it in front of it. So what I'm gonna do is start off with this glass dome, and I'm gonna put a stroke on it right away. Make sure it's on the outside. Is a 0.2, or excuse me, a 2 point. Make sure I got that as a 2 point as well. I mean, pretty much anything inside here, I'm not worried about putting a stroke on it. Excuse me, but for the brain I will, because I'm going to add some detail into it. So I will put a pink stroke on there, and we'll put it on the outside. And I'm going to leave it at a 1. And what we're going to do is select this stuff right here, except for the brain, Control 2 to lock it all. Now what I'm going to do is knock out the fill over here, so there's no fill on it. We're just going to work with the stroke because I want it to be the same color as this right here. So I'm going to start the stroke right about down here and bring it right about at that angle. I'm going to knock it down to 1 because it's too thick. And it doesn't matter that it's in front right there. So now hit Shift X to bring this pink over into the fill state. And then we can just add some detail into it. But other than using these, let's go a different route. What I'm going to do is select the spiral tool and hit Shift X to bring this color back into the stroke. Now you're just going to simply click and drag, and you hit the up or down arrow to add more of a curve or less of a curve. If you hold down the control, you can actually change how deep it goes in by holding control. So what I'm going to do is make this really quick. I'm going to make the end cap right here round. And then I'll make a couple small ones. Now if you want this to go a different way, so I won't say instead of it rolling out like this, I want it to roll the other way, just simply click and click there and hit OK. Delete that and then pull out another one. For the stroke right here, we'll just hit Control and left bracket until it's, or excuse me, you have to unlock the brain in the class case first. So Control Alt 2. Then select this stroke right here and Control left bracket to knock it behind the brain, or excuse me, the eyeball. So let's say we wanted to try, or we wanted to make the glass to overlay on top of the brain here. So what I'm going to do is select the glass right here, Control F, and I'm going to make select on it again, and I'm going to make the fill white. Then I'm going to Control F to paste this back in front and slowly behind the eyeball. So what I'm going to do is select all this right here. Quick way to do it, Control Shift right bracket, put that behind. Now there's a couple ways to do this. The way I normally do it, there's it's, if you ever want to consider it right or wrong, it's your own decision. But what I'll do is I'll copy this again, knock out the fill, paste it in, and knock out the stroke. And then knock this down to about 30%. If you even want to go lower, you can go ahead. And then just grab the white, make sure it's the fill, knock out the stroke. Let me do some highlights. Knock that to about what, 30? Yeah, it could actually be a little bit brighter. If you want to actually see this without the border on it, just Control H, and you can actually make the adjustments without the bounding box around the actual fills, or objects I should say. So for the most part, this is pretty much done. But you gotta bring these fills or the highlights back up. So remember, Control Y gets you to this point, Control Y brings you back, Control Shift right bracket, bring those highlights up. Now, in order for me, let me make sure all these strokes are on the outside because it actually makes a difference. Alright. What I do is I'm going to put a black outline around this whole thing. And the way I do it is you can actually make sure everything is unlocked, or you can do it by actually duplicating this layer. For the safe concern, I usually just make another layer because I want to, if I mix something up, I end up losing something within the copy and the original. So I'll select all this. What we're going to do is go to the Unite tool. And I usually click it a couple times in case there's some extra points. Now the whole it already messed up on my part. So what we want to do is, we have this copy down here. We select the whole thing, and we go to Object, Expand Appearance. That way, it turns everything into a path, including the stroke outlines. Then we're going to go to Object, Expand, and that expands all the strokes as well if there was anything left in there. And then we're going to go to Unite. And by doing that, expand appearance and expand, what's happening is it's expanding it along this line right here. Because if we didn't, it'd be within this where the line and the fill meet. So, being we have a white fill, we're going to put a stroke of black on it, put it on the outside. I'm going to click right here so I can see how far it's sticking out. Then click on the stroke and increase it. And Control Save. And simply, just finish it off. We can add, well, what you want to do is bring this we just made up to the new layer. Control Shift left bracket. And it's at the very bottom. Control S to save it. And we'll just add some gas coming out of here. Select all this and unite it. I say just click on here, add some highlights to it. down the opacity at 30%. Another, here's a quick tip. What I normally do if when working with something like the highlights, what I would do is, let me erase these really quick. I lock the original art layer, make a new layer for the highlights, just for a specific area that I'm working in. Excuse me. And drop the opacity down to 30. And then I, excuse me. Then I make the highlights. Then this way, because this is only on this layer, you can select all these, right click and group. Unlock this, bring them down. It's going to make them white again, 100%, because this layer is 100%. And because these are grouped, you can bring these back down to 30. And I'm just going to, another convenient thing too is, say you just want to select all the color. That's this color. Go to select, same. We'll go with fill color. So that's all selected. And I'm going to drop the opacity down on this. Remove the artwork layer. And there you have it. So I hope this helps to clarify. I mean, I know it's not an a detailed tutorial, but I mean, this is a simple, fast, and effective way to make character designs. I hope you like this, and I hope you like the other video. I know there's not a lot of talking in it, but I mean, there's some good tips that you can pick up along the way. Again, thanks for your support for buying this, and again, have a good one, and thanks again.